So there's a little bit to be done. So anyway, as I was saying when I first started, I have been out for the last year. I think I did one, um, literally one live stream, and it was pretty much a life update. We moved, so I took time off, got settled here. Then our grandson was born because we found out our daughter was pregnant, so I spent a lot of time with her. And our grandson was born, and now I'm trying to get into a rhythm where I can um, read a little bit, even if it's like a half an hour. Just read a little bit. So I sat down today and I thought, you know what? Why not? So I started reading the Talisman and I thought, you know what? We're going to read that. It is a really thick book like The Dome. And I don't think I read The Dome on here, so I'm going to do that one too. But I have to leave in like a little over an hour. So I figure I can read a little bit, I can talk a little bit. Um, I don't know if I'll put this stuff, I might put this stuff in the live stream when I save it up, but this will be on YouTube tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow. Um, I'm going to try to read tomorrow night and then read every night, at least every night. Mornings, I'm not so sure, but I know I can at least read every night. And what I'm going to do is try to pick around 6, 7 o'clock. My daughter gets out of work. I can start reading then. And Tuesday, I don't know. I have some health issues that I'm doing an MRI. My health has been kind of low and it kind of sucks. Um, I am getting my teeth replaced. That's another thing. So, yes, I talk funny today. Um, but I've seen people say they kind of love the way the family interacts and the dogs come in, which I have one sleeping here somewhere. The other one's sitting there in the living room. And, this house doesn't have a dining room. So I'm in my bedroom, and that's probably kind of why the light's off. Um, it seems kind of dark to me. Uh, then there's a living room kitchen. We found out in January, just a couple months ago, that we have to move again because our landlord here has decided he's selling all of his properties. And we are probably one of the only ones that have not sold yet. So I'm kind of hoping we have the like 2, 3 months because I'm going to try to get a hold of a lender, see if we can get a loan, and then we're going to move again. So hopefully I can read the Talisman, at least the Talisman before we move. I don't want to take as much time off. Um, I kind of found a house. It's really nice. I really like it. I would love to get it. It's 20 minutes from my kiddo, you know, not even half an hour services for my son. It's perfect. But it also depends whether it's mortgage, rent to own, and whether or not we can get the loan for it. So pray for us, please, because it's been rough. And if we get this, we could put a fence around, and my pup could have her own space. Um, the two older dogs are fighting. They have not been able to be together since we moved here. It started in the motel, so it's kind of rough. Um, I have not been able to find a home for her, so I'm just going to get her fixed. And we were going to do that this past tax season. We spent it on our car. New transmission, well, rebuilt. Um, the radiator housing, and now we need a mount for our car and for the engine mount, and a sway bar link, which isn't much. So hopefully we can get that done by the end of, by the middle of next week and be good to go. So it's rough. We've got a lot going on, a lot. Hey, how did Phoebe do on your walk? How far did you get?
Almost, not too far.
Did you get to where'd you go? The alley?
No, not alley, but the
You went down the
sidewalk.
brick road?
Yeah, almost towards the bridge.
How far did you get?
Uh,
Did you get past the first alley? When you go that way, there's a little alley. Did you get past that?
yeah.
Did you get to the cross to the
No,
next road?
no.
She wanted to pull.
Yeah, she goes like,
Yes, she does. So we're gonna get her a choker, one of
yeah.
those pinch collars, so that she can learn to not pull so much.
Yeah, we should do one of those.
You know what's funny? She'll pull me until I have my cane, and then she doesn't pull as much. Right? The other thing is my daughter has a dog, and we might be able to see if it's thawed enough for you to put it in a pan. Um, yeah, I'm letting him cook tonight. Well, then put them away first. Um, so my daughter has a dog, and we're gonna see how the girls do, and if my dog and her dog get along. She's thinking about taking her, which gives her plenty of room. She has like 19 acres to let her run, and even if she's just chained up in the outside, like on her chain, so that she can run the yard, she's good to go until they get a fence. I would love that for her. But for now, I have her. So it's fun. My girls are arguing. This is the Talisman. New, new, new. Here we go. Talisman. It's thick. It's like, what did it say? 600, 700 pages? It's like 660, 650. Give me a second here if I can find the last page here.
Hey, Mom.
652 pages. Yeah.
6, 7, 6, 7. 6, 7, 6, 7.
What is the deal with 6'7"? Do you even understand that? Because I sure don't.
Well, wait, YouTube.
Oh, is that what it is? A YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. 6,
Go figure. When I was a kid, it was 6'9". All right, so The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub. And in case I didn't introduce myself, I am Lady Rain, and this is the Reader's Nook. Yes, I gave a life update first. This is the inside cover. To coincide with the publication of Stephen King and Peter Straub's riveting new thriller, Black House, here is the story that started it all. So this book is the beginning of Black House as well. So on a brisk autumn day, a 12-year-old boy stands on the shores of the gray Atlantic near a silent amusement park and fading ocean resort called the Alhambra. The Alhambra. The past has driven Jack Sawyer here. His father is gone, his mother is dying, and the world no longer makes sense. But for Jack, everything is about to change. He has been chosen to make a journey across America and into another realm. Ooh. One of the most influential and praised works of fantasy ever written, The Talisman is an extraordinary novel of loyalty, awakening, terror, and mystery. Jack Sawyer, on a desperate quest to save his mother's life, must search for a prize across an epic landscape of innocence and monsters.
The glass thing came off.
Okay, put it back on.
Yeah, don't know
Of incredible dangers. Okay, did you put the plate back on?
Not yet.
And even more incredible truths. The prize is essential, but the journey means even more. Let the quest begin. And there are lots and lots of. This was, I guess, written in 1984. This book is for Ruth King and Elvina Straub. I apologize if I got that wrong.
Mom, can we put them stew beef in onto a plate?
Why don't you just put it in one more time, defrost?
I tried. I don't do that because
Then just put it in a pot. Put it in a pan. Put it in a pan of water. This is written on the inside before you get to the story. Well, when Tom and me got to the edge of a hilltop, We looked away down into the village and could see 3 or 4 lights twinkling. Where there was sick folks, maybe, and where there was sick folks, maybe, and stars over us was sparkling ever so fine. And down by the village was the river, a whole mile broad, and awful still and grand. Hold on. Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn. I don't care. My new clothes was all greased up and clayey, and I was dog tired. Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn. So there are different parts. The first part is Jack lights out. Okay? And I'll tell you each part as we go. So, part 1. This is one part. I kind of look down a lot. The Alhambra Inn and Gardens. On September 15th, 1981, a boy named Jack Sawyer stood where the water and land come together, hands in his pockets of his jeans, looking out at the steady Atlantic. He was 12 years old and tall for his age. The sea breeze swept back his brown hair, probably too long, from a fine, clear brow. He stood there, filled with the confused and painful emotions he had lived with for the last 3 months, since the time when his mother had closed their house on Rodeo Drive in Los Angeles, and in a flurry of furniture, checks, and real estate agents, rented an apartment on Central Park West. From that apartment, they had fled to this quiet resort on New Hampshire's tiny seacoast. Order and regularity had disappeared from Jack's world. His life seemed as shifting, as uncontrolled as the heaving water before him. His mother was moving him through the world, twitching him. That's what it says, twitching him from place to place. But what moved his mother? His mother was running. Jack turned around, looked up at the empty beach, first to the left, then to the right. To the left was Arcadia Fun World, an amusement park that ran all racket and roar from Memorial Day to Labor Day. It stood empty and still now, a heart between beats. The roller coaster was a scaffold against that featureless, overcast sky. The uprights and angled supports like strokes down in charcoal. Down there was his new friend, Speedy Parker. But the boy could not think about Speedy Parker now. Do we have any oil? To the right was the Alhambra Inn and Gardens, and that was where the boy's thoughts restlessly took him. Then just a little bit. Try maybe a cup of water. A cup of water. You have a mug, yes? A mug. I'm going to see how he does. On the day of their arrival, Jack had momentarily thought he'd seen a rainbow over its dormered and gambled roof. Turn up the heat. Turn it to the center. Yep, center. And let it heat up when you put the water in, and then let it heat up. Dormered and gambreled roof. A sign of sorts, a promise of better things. But there had been no rainbow. A weather vane spun right, left, right, caught in a crosswind. No, just one cup. Bring it to just let it come to a boil. He had got out of their rented car, ignoring his mother's unspoken desire for him to do something about the luggage, and looked up. Above the spinning brass cock of the weather vane hung only a blank sky. Open the trunk and get the bags, sonny boy, his mother had called to him. This broken down old actress wants to check in and hunt down a drink. An elementary martini, Jack had said. You're not so old, you were supposed to say. She was pushing herself effortlessly off the car seat. You're not so old. She gleamed at him, a glimpse of the old, go to hell Lily Kavanaugh Sawyer, queen of 2 decades worth of B movies. She straightened her back. It's going to be okay, Jackie, she had said. Everything's going to be okay here. This is a good place.
Can I turn that over headline?
No. But you can get my cord.
What?
My cord, please. A seagull drifted over the roof of the hotel, and for a second, Jack had the disquieting sensation that the weather vane, yes, sweetheart, thank you, had taken flight. We'll get away from the phone calls for a while, right? Sure, Jack had said. She wanted to hide from Uncle Morgan. She wanted no more wrangles with her dead husband's business partner. She wanted to crawl into bed with an elementary martini and hoist the covers over her head. Mom, what's wrong with you? There was too much death. The world was half made of death. The gull cried out overhead. Andalay, kid, andalay, his mother had said. Let's get into the great good place. Then Jack had thought, at least there's always Uncle Tommy to help me out in case things get really hairy. But Uncle Tommy was already dead. It was just that the news was still on the other end of a lot of telephone wires. The Alhambra hung out over the water, a great Victorian pile in gigantic granite blocks, which seemed... Hi. Huh? Then put the meat in. I'm making him cook. A great Victorian pile on gigantic granite blocks, which seemed to merge almost seamlessly with the low headland. What? What? It's not going to. It's not hot enough. Just put it in. You've put meat in a pan before. Just put it in. It's not oil. It's water. It doesn't splash back like that. It's a cup of water at that. A jutting collarbone of granite here on the few scant miles of New Hampshire coast. The formal gardens on its landward side were barely visible from Jack's beachfront angle. A dark green flap of hedge, that was all. That was it. A brass cock stood against the sky, quartering west by northwest. A plaque in the lobby announced that it was here in 1838 that the Northern Methodist Conference had held the first of the great New England abolition rallies. Daniel Webster had spoken at fiery, inspired length. According to the plaque, Webster had said, "From this day forward, know that slavery as an American institution has begun to sicken and must soon die in all our states and territorial lands." I like that. So they arrived on that day last week, which had ended the turmoil of their months in New York. In Arcadia Beach, there were no lawyers employed by Morgan Sloat, popping out of cars and waving papers which had to be signed. Had to be filed, Mrs. Sawyer. In Arcadia Beach, the telephones did not ring out from noon till 3 in the morning. What is she barking at? Harley! Harley, come here! Harley! Come here!
She wants outside. I know.
Well, see if that's what she wants. In Arcadia Beach, the telephones did not ring out from noon until 3 in the morning. Uncle Morgan appeared to forget that residents of Central Park West were not on California time. In fact, the telephones in Arcadia Beach rang not at all. On the way into the little resort town, his mother driving with squinty eyed concentration, Jack had seen only one person on the streets, a mad old man desultorily pushing an empty shopping cart along a sidewalk. Above them was a blank gray sky, an uncomfortable sky, in total contrast to New York. Here there was only the steady sound of the wind, hooting up deserted streets that looked much too wide, with no traffic to fill them. Here were empty shops with signs in windows saying open weekends only, or even worse, see you in June. There was 100 empty parking places on the street before the Alhambra, empty tables in the Arcadia Tea and Jam shop next door, and shabby, crazy old men pushed shopping carts along deserted streets. I spent the happiest 3 weeks of my life in this funny little place, Lily told him, driving past the old man, who turned, Jack saw, to look after them with frightened suspicion. He was mouthing something, but Jack could not tell what it was. And then swinging the car up the curved drive through the front gardens of the hotel. You know what? Here. Ah, do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. For that, for that was why they had bundled everything they could not live without into suitcases and satchels and plastic shopping bags, turned the key in the lock to the apartment door, ignoring the shrill ringing of the telephone, which seemed to penetrate the same keyhole and pursue them down the hall. That was why they had filled the trunk and back seat of the rented car with all their overflowing boxes and bags and spent hours crawling north along the Henry Hudson Parkway. I guess I should take a breath, huh? And spent hours crawling north along the Henry Hudson Parkway. Then many more hours pounding up I-95, because Lily Kavanaugh Sawyer had once been happy here. In 1968, the year before Jack's birth, Lily had been nominated for an Academy Award for her role in a picture called Blaze. Blaze was a better movie than most of Lily's, and in it she had been able to demonstrate a much richer talent than her usual bad girl roles had revealed. Nobody expected Lily to win, least of all Lily. But for Lily, the customary cliche about the real horror being in the nomination was honest truth. She did feel honored, deeply and genuinely, but to celebrate this one moment of real professional recognition, Phil Sawyer had wisely taken her for 3 weeks to the Alhambra Inn and Gardens, on the other side of the continent, where they had watched the Oscars while drinking champagne in bed. If Jack had been older, and had he had an occasion to care, he might have done the necessary subtraction and discovered that Alhambra had been the place of his essential beginning. What is it? What? Put a lid on it.
Okay.
Yeah. When the supporting actress nominations were read, according to family legend, Lily had growled to Phil, "If I win this thing and I'm not there, I'll do the monkey on your chest in my stiletto heels." But when Ruth Gordon had won, Lily had said, "Sure, she deserves it. She's a great kid." And had immediately poked her husband in the middle of his chest and said, "You better get me another part like that, you big shot agent, you." There had been no more parts like that. Lily's last role, 2 years after Phil's death, had been that of a cynical ex-prostitute in a film called Motorcycle Maniacs. It was that period Lily was commemorating now. Jack knew that knew as he hauled the baggage out of the trunk and the back seat. A D'Agostino bag had torn right down through the big DAG. You can try it. You can also try in the cupboards beside the stove. And a jumble of rolled up socks, loose photographs, chessmen in the board, and comic books had dribbled over all else in the trunk. Jack managed to get most of this stuff into other bags. Lily was moving slowly up the hotel steps, pulling herself along the railing like an old lady. I'll find the bellhop, she said without turning around. Jack straightened up from the bulging bags and looked again at the sky, where he was sure he had seen a rainbow. There was no rainbow, only that uncomfortable, shifting sky. Then, come to me, someone said to him in a small and perfectly audible voice. What? He asked, turning around. The empty gardens and drive stretched out before him. Yes, his mother said. She looked crinkle-backed, leaning over the knob of the great wooden door. Mistake, he said. There was no voice, no rainbow. He forgot both and looked up at his mother, who was struggling with the vast door. Hold on, I'll help, he called, and trotted up the steps, awkwardly carrying a big suitcase and a straining paper bag filled with sweaters. Until he met Speedy Parker, Jack had moved through days at the hotel as unconscious of the passage of time as a sleeping dog. His entire life seemed almost dreamlike to him during these days. Did it fit? Did you find one? Does that work? Put it down. Put it in it. I asked you one. You were only supposed to put 1 cup of water.
I might put it halfway, not all the way.
Please put the lid on.
No, just take a look.
It'll boil. Please.
Just come over here before.
Is it boiling?
Sort of.
Move the meat around a little bit.
No, I mean it's like under the water.
Yeah. That works. Now leave it there for a few minutes. Okay? Okay. I'm determined he's going to learn. His entire life seemed almost dreamlike to him during these days, full of shadows and inexplicable transitions. Even the terrible news about Uncle Tommy, which had come down the telephone wires the night before, had not entirely awakened him. As shocking as it had been. If Jack had been a mystic, he might have thought that other forces had taken him over and were manipulating his mother's life and his own.
There's a spider in the bathroom down here.
Is it big?
Size like my finger.
Is it see-through? Or
and
brown?
You can actually see it.
Is it brown?
Light-ish.
I shall be right back. The arachnophobic mother must take care of the spider. Where's it at? Is it in the doorway, over by the sink, by the toilet, by the wall, by the window? Oh, it's up. Oh, no. Big issue.
How about this? I'll get the paper. Excuse me? Not those papers. Oh, well, let's use. Hard to move. How about this envelope? This big enough. Maybe it's in the cup. You can drip. If I move this thing.
Nope, not dealing with it. Where's the spoon you were using? Then why did you put so much water? No. You can't cook all the produce boiled. Tenderizer.
Give me the thing. I'm looking for it. You think that wasn't dying, yo? I'm better than there, but not dying in the bathroom. She will flip out.
I would flip out if I did.
That's good.
Ah, touched me. You are more than welcome to laugh. I freaked out. It touched me. I put it on. I put a cup over it and I moved it down. And when I went to look in, it went and crawled up the cup and touched me. And I was like, nope, into the garbage it went. So the can is now outside. So, shall we begin? Again? No, nope. I can't. Put her on the lead and take her out, please.
I'm not going outside with that spider.
It's not going to touch you. It's in the can. Now, please take her out.
I'm not.
Please.
Can put it.
Are you going to perform a miracle on this live stream? No, he's taking care of Eli.
What about?
The garbage can is not anywhere where it's going to get you. It's going to crawl out of the garbage can and right down into the garbage on the ground. Okay? It's going to go right to the ground. Please? Can you see if they need water? And he's going to take his time. Give me a minute. I'm going to read a little bit more and see what he does. There we are. If Jack had been a mystic, yes, I know I'm kind of repeating myself, he might have thought that other forces had taken him over and were manipulating his mother's life and his own. Jack Sawyer, at 12, was a being who required things to do. In the noiseless passivity of these days, after the hubbub of Manhattan had confused and undone him in some basic way, Jack had found himself standing on the beach with no recollection of having gone there, no idea of what he was doing there at all. He supposed he was mourning Uncle Tommy, but it was as though his mind had gone to sleep, leaving his body to fend for itself. He could not concentrate long enough to grasp the plots of the sitcoms he and Lily watched at night, much less keep the nuances of fiction in his head. You're tired from all this moving around, his mother said, dragging deeply on a cigarette and squinting at him through the smoke. All you have to do, Jacko, is relax for a little while. This is a good place. Let's enjoy it as long as we can. Can you take her out? I know that sounds mean. Bob Newhart, before them in a slightly too reddish color on the set, bemusedly regarded a shoe he held in his right hand. That's what I'm doing, Jackie, she smiled at him, relaxing and enjoying it. He peeked at his watch. 2 hours had passed while they sat in front of the television, and he could not remember anything that had preceded this program. Jack was getting up to go to bed when the phone rang. Good old Uncle Morgan Sloat had found them. Uncle Morgan's news was never very great, but this was apparently a blockbuster even by Uncle Morgan's standards. Jack stood in the middle of the room, watching as his mother's face grew paler, palest. Her hand crept to her throat, where new lines had appeared over the last few months, and pressed lightly. She said barely a word until the end, when she whispered, "Thank you, Morgan," and hung up. She had turned to Jack then, looking older and sicker than ever. "Gotta be tough now, Jackie, all right?" He hadn't felt tough. She shook his hand then and told him, "Uncle Tommy was killed in a hit-and-run accident this afternoon, Jack." He gasped, feeling as if the wind had been torn out of him. He was crossing La Cienega Boulevard, and a van hit him. There was a witness who said it was black and that the words "Wild Child" were written on the side, but that was all. Lily began to cry. A moment later, almost surprised, Jack began to cry as well. All of that had happened 3 days ago, and to Jack it seemed forever. On September 15th, 1981, a boy named Jack Sawyer stood looking out at the steady water as he stood on the unmarked beach before a hotel that looked like a castle in a Sir Walter Scott novel. He wanted to cry but was unable to release the tears. He was surrounded by death. Death had made up half the world. There were no rainbows. The Wild Child van had subtracted Uncle Tommy from the world. Uncle Tommy, dead in LA, too far from the East Coast, where even a kid like Jack knew he really belonged. A man who felt he had to put on a tie before going out to get a roast beef sandwich at Arby's had no business on the West Coast at all. His father was dead. Uncle Tommy was dead. His mother might be dying. He felt death here too, at Arcadia Beach, where it spoke through telephones in Uncle Morgan's voice. It was nothing as cheap or obvious as the melancholy feel of a resort in the off-season, where one kept stumbling over the ghosts of summers past. It seemed to be in the texture of things, the smell and the ocean breeze. He was scared, and he had been scared for a long time. Being here, where it was so quiet, had only helped him realize it. Had helped him realize that maybe death had driven all the way up I-95 from New York, squinting out through cigarette smoke, and asking him to find some bop on the car radio. What are we looking for? What are we looking for? Oh, did you bring them back in from here, Nick? They're not in here, are they? Because I know I used them. Huh? It's okay. They know I have all kinds of things to do. They're not underneath my jacket. Did he find them?
Yeah, it was on. It was on the floor. I gave
Okay. So Chris said, "Go ahead." So he's cooking stew meat to go with pasta, unless you have a different idea. I put some salt and pepper, sea salt, and or seasoned salt and
meat tenderizer.
Meat tenderizer on it. Thank you. He could remember vaguely his father telling him that he was born. I don't have to leave for a little bit. His father telling him that he was born with an old head. But his head didn't feel old now. Right now, his head felt very young. Scared, he thought. I'm pretty damn scared. And this is where the world ends, right? Seagulls coursed the gray air overhead. The silence was as gray as the air, as deadly as the growing circles under her eyes. When he had wandered into Fun World and met Lester Speedy Parker after he did not quite know how many days of numbly drifting through time, that passive feeling of being on hold had somehow left him. Lester Parker was a black man with crinkly gray hair and heavy lines cutting through his cheeks. He was utterly unremarkable now, despite whatever he had accomplished in his earlier life as a traveling blues musician. Ooh, that's cool. Nor had he said anything particularly remarkable. Yet, as soon as Jack has walked aimlessly into Fun World's game arcade and met Speedy's pale eyes, he felt all the fuzziness leave him. He had become himself again. It was as if a magical current had passed directly from the old man into Jack. Speedy had smiled at him and said, "Well, it looks like I got me some company." The little traveling man just walked in. What's up? Are you talking to the dog or the kid? Belle? I thought she was in the kitchen. She's right here. She was in the bathroom. I don't think she heard you.
Have you done with Dina?
No.
Can't you go?
Ask Belle to check on it for you. Ask Belle to check on it. And if you want, you can either throw it in the oven or you can put it in a frying pan. It's up to you and Belle. What do you want to do?
Frying pan.
Well, get a frying pan. You might have to wash the black one. Okay? And once you do that, you're going to want to strain that water out. Or use a spoon, a slotted spoon, to get the meat out and put it in the frying pan, okay?
It's a big and small with the meat.
Black one.
It's not.
Does she need out?
It's done to me. It's done to me.
Well, you also have to look at the inside.
Can you do that, Mom?
What do you mean, can I do that? I can't. You know what I feel like when I do that? I feel like going. Sorry, I had to. I'll be getting my teeth replaced soon enough. It was true. He was not on hold anymore. Just an instant before, He had seemed to be wrapped in wet wool and cotton candy. I am. I am. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? What?
She the garbage can going outside.
Um, Give her a Walmart bag to put on the door. Tell her we will bring the garbage can in after we dump it into the can because there's a spider in it. And I'm not bringing it back into the house. That's good. Still rubbing it, putting heat on it. Oh my lord, Nick, there's some right beside the stove. That's good. Just kind of, doing the little thing. Leaving you alone. Well, are they leaving you alone? I hope so. Oops. I think that might have been me. She's mad at me now. Good. Good. You need a break. He had seemed to be wrapped in wet wool and cotton candy, and now he was set free. A silvery nimbus seemed to play about the old man for an instant. A little aureole of light which disappeared as soon as Jack blinked. For the first time, Jack saw the man was holding the handle of a wide, heavy push broom. You okay, son? The handy man put one hand on the small of his back and stretched backward. The world just got worse, or did she get better? Better, Jack said. Then you come to the right place, I'd say. What do they call you? Little traveling man, Speedy had said that first day. Old traveling Jack. He had leaned his tall, angular body against the skee-ball machine and wrapped his arms around the broom handle as though it was a girl at a dance. The man you see here is Lester Speedy Parker, formerly a traveling man himself, son. Oh, yeah. Speedy knew the road. He knew all the roads. Way back in the old days. Had me a band, Traveling Jack. Played the blues. Guitar blues. Made me a few records, too, but I won't shame you by asking if you ever heard them.
Come on, get.
Every syllable had its own rhythmic lilt. Every phrase its rim shot and backbeat. Speedy Parker carried a broom instead of a guitar, but he was still a musician. Within the first 5 seconds of talking to Speedy, Jack had known that his jazz-loving father would have relished this man's company. Get a slotted spoon and put it in the pan. You know, the spoons? Yeah. Get a slotted spoon. There you go. Because you can use it when you put it on the frying pan. Turn the fire on. No, turn the fire on. Yeah. How do you like that? Me teaching him how to cook as I go. Every syllable had its own rhythm. Oh, I already did that part. Jack had known that his jazz-loving father would have relished this man's company. He had tagged along behind Speedy for the better part of 3 or 4 days, watching him work and helping out when he could. Speedy let him. He let him bang in nails, sand down a picket or two that needed paint. These simple tasks, done under Speedy's instructions, were the only schooling he was getting, but they made him feel better. Jack now saw his first days in Arcadia Beach as a period of unrelieved wretchedness from which his new friend had rescued him. For Speedy Parker was a friend, that was certain. So certain, in fact, that in it was a quantity of mystery. In the few days since Jack had shaken off his daze, or since Speedy had shaken it off for him by dispelling it with one glance of his light-colored eyes, Speedy Parker had become closer to him than any other friend, with the possible exception of Richard Slope, whom Jack had known approximately since the cradle, and now, counteracting his terror by losing Uncle Tommy and his fear that his mother was actually dying, he left the tug of Speedy's warm, wise presence from just down the street. Oh, he felt, excuse me, I read that wrong. He felt the tug of Speedy's warm, wise presence from just down the street. Again, and uncomfortably, Jack had his old sense of being directed, of being manipulated, as if a long invisible wire had pulled him and his mother up to this abandoned place by the sea. They wanted him there, whoever they were. Or was that just crazy?
Do I need to drain not drain, do I need to
Turn the wok off.
Yeah, I did that.
Leave it. Put it on the back burner.
No, I was thinking of reusing it for the spaghetti. Like,
Not a good idea. That's why you need to clean the pot. Or was that crazy? In his inner vision, he saw a bent old man, clearly out of his mind, muttering to himself as he pushed an empty shopping cart down the sidewalk. A gull screamed in the air, and Jack promised himself that he would make himself talk about some of his feelings with Speedy Parker. Even if Speedy thought he was nuts, even if he laughed at Jack, he would not laugh, Jack secretly knew. They were old friends because one of the things Jack understood about the old custodian was that he could say almost anything to him. But he was not ready for all that yet. It was all too crazy. He did not understand it yet himself. Almost reluctantly, Jack turned his back on Fun World and trudged across the sand toward the hotel. There it is. I have a bookmark. At least I did. There it is. It's a little bookmark. So we're going to stop there because I do have to go get my hubby from work. I'm going to literally probably just throw this up as is on YouTube because my life is crazy.
What's that?
No. And you know, life being crazy is just the way it is. So I don't know what I'm going to do about my camera. Maybe it's the lighting or something. I'm not sure. Maybe tomorrow I'll try reading over by my desk. I'm hoping to get a place where there's an outbuilding where I can have electricity, have my desk, and have my pup. So I can spend all my time there. Not all of it anyway. But yeah, I'm going to go. I will see you guys again soon. I appreciate you being here with me for my crazy hour. And yeah, we will hopefully be together again tomorrow. So, y'all have a good night. I love you, and I will see you soon.